Sports Card Podcast, where we tackle the hobby's hottest topics in depth to help you navigate the sports card landscape and enjoy the hobby we all love. Here's your host, John Newman.
Welcome to episode 52 of Hobby Quick Hits. Today's episode, as you see with the title, is called Modern Iconics. And you know, when we talk about iconic cards, right, we think back to vintage and the 48 Leaf and obviously the T206 Honus and the 52 Topps Mano, even the 51 Bowman Mano, you know, Mays rookie, 48 Musial. I mean, we can go on and on about iconic cards, right? You don't even need to know what year. You just need to see a photo of that card. You know what it is. The Gowdy Roots and Garricks and, again, just kind of cards you see and you know the significance of them and obviously the value of them as well. That goes without saying. But what we've seen in the hobby, at least I have, I'm sure you have too, is we're seeing some modern cards, if you will, just the cards that were $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, just kind of rise in value recently because I think they've taken on sort of an iconic status in their era. And I'm not the cards we're going to talk about today, I'm not comparing them to those cards I've already mentioned, those vintage cards, 48 Leaf Robinson and all those other ones. And value-wise, we're not even this close. But they've really jumped in significant value, and we're going to talk about them. And first thing I want to get out of the way, the 2011 Trout update, that is a modern-day iconic card, but we also know it's a four-figure card. What I want to do is talk about not that kind of level expensive of card, but cards we've seen recently. It could be even a matter of a few weeks recent, or even in the last year or two recent, that have jumped up significantly, and years from now, potentially we'll look back, irregardless of value. They may even drop in value, but we'll look at that card and say, man, I remember that card. And one of the reasons we're seeing, folks, these jumps in values of some of these cards we're going to talk about on today's show is because with a lot of new people coming into the hobby, many of them, a good portion of them, are not coming in for the first time. They used to collect cards when they were younger. Now they're back. They're seeing it on the news. They're seeing, card art take off. And now they're seeing celebrities that they follow, athletes they follow, business people, influencers they follow, talk about cards and how great it is, and they're coming back. And so when they're coming back, they were, you remember when you were younger. You remember those certain cards that meant something to you. And we're seeing those cards that were, again, I know I'm kind of teasing here, not mentioning them yet, but we're going to see those cards. We've seen those cards rise up. Many of the cards I'm going to mention were in discount boxes, $1, $2, 50 cents. And now we've seen with the new influx of people returning, they're flocking to buy all those cards up. And what's happened? The price has increased significantly, and I was surprised by a few of these, and it's funny, I had to actually dig them out of my discount boxes when I realized, quite frankly, what was going on, and in turn it's driven up the wax of that product as well. So again, the title of the show, Modern Iconics. We're going to go through 5 or 6 of these cards. I've already talked about the Trout update. That's a very expensive card, great card. But I want to talk about more stuff that's in the stratosphere, lesser value in comparison to the Trout, but has shot up because of the phenomenon of people coming back. And in turn, what it's done to wax of that product. So we're going to talk, about those sort of things. One of the first cards I want to talk about, because after the Trout, it's probably the next modern iconic on the list. And it's not cheap in its own right, too. I mean, in comparison to the other cards we're going to go over, it's value-wise way ahead of those as well. And that's the 89 Upper Deck Griffey. We've seen PSA 9s and graded 9s and obviously 10s just shoot up into, not the 9s, but the 10s are definitely four figures. The 9s have now got into the $500 or $600 range, and have a few of those myself. And I remember at one time I had that card on eBay for like $130 and didn't sell. And now those cards are, selling left and right at $500 or $600. And it's just amazing how the market's changed. It's not, we all know it, right? It's not a short print card. There's plenty of them out there. There's plenty raw. There's plenty graded. They're not hard to find. But we've seen people who've come back, right? That was the card, man. I can tell you I was a 17-year-old in 1989 doing shows. That was the card. That was instant sale when you pulled one of those. And I was trying to pull them, opening lots of 89 Upper Deck. I was trying to buy them from other people who were fortunate enough to pull them. My wife, I say this, I've said this before, my wife, who knows nothing about cards, doesn't care about cards, supports me, but that's your thing, John. You show her the 89 Upper Deck Griffey, and she knows what it is. So that it transcends past the hobby. And so that's one of those iconic cards. Now, that's sort of getting closer to the stratosphere that the Trout is in. So I that's why I wanted to get that out of the way first and talk about it first. And before I get into some of these other, I hate to say lesser value, but not as expensive. That's probably a better way of saying it. Not as expensive. But before we get into those 5 or 6 cards, I'll tease even further. Let's take a quick break for our national ad, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of those cards I've kept mentioning without mentioning. All right, welcome back. So, again, modern iconic. I guess it depends, what you think is modern. What year does modern start? I want to get out of the way. Let's talk about Mattingly's rookie year, 1984. I think a lot of those Mattingly rookies are iconic. They're not crazy expensive, even though they've seen a spike in value, as many people feel he should be in the Hall of Fame and think he'll get there eventually through the Veterans Committee. But, to me, I think that 84 Donruss, right, that big close-up of Donnie Baseball's face there, I can tell you as a 12-year-old kid trying to get those and pull those, and that euphoric feeling when you open that 84 Donruss pack, as I did. And you could see it as you slid the one card from the on top to, to reveal the next card, and you see that hair on the side, right? And that big face, and you're like, I got it. That, to me, is an iconic card. Now, it might not be considered modern iconic, depending on your definition of modern, but that 84, those 84 Manley rookies, even the Fleer and the tops, where he's fielding position, those are to me, again, that's the great thing about a hobby. We can all have our own opinion, but to me, those are iconic cards. When you look at that era too, you got some didn't live up to expectation guys, right? We know the Roger Clemens deal from the 85 rookies, and Gooden got into trouble, never made the Hall. Clemens with performance enhancer. Strawberry, also 84, didn't get in, got into trouble with drugs and substance abuse, and affected his career. And Mattingly sort of out of that group. You got your Gwynns and Boggs already in. Mattingly's probably the next guy maybe to get in, unless people forgive Clemens and the performance enhancing stuff. And so to me, those Manly cards are iconic. However, we're talking, now 37 years ago. But I want to bring it back more into the 90s. And the first card I want to talk about, and we've seen this. This is a card I've had in my discount boxes anywhere from $2 to $5, and it's the 1991 Upper Deck Michael Jordan SP1. The one where he's in the batting cages with the White Sox taking swings, and this is before he got into baseball. This is when he was full blown into his basketball career and a Chicago icon, and knowing he enjoyed baseball and played baseball as a younger person. The White Sox had him in there just to take some cuts. And so what I'm seeing now is a lot of people going back to that card. Now that card, it's an SP1. It's not super short printed. Now it's not a base card either. It's not as easy to get as a base card. The way I would describe it, and from someone who opened quite a few of those 91 Upper Deck boxes, is sometimes I had boxes where I got two of those in one box, and then I've had boxes where you didn't get one. And so it's really all over the place. Just buying a box doesn't necessarily guarantee you're going to get one, or you can buy a box and get two. And we've seen that card now go up to $75 raw. I've seen a PSA 10 copy sell for $4 figures. And this is, again, like I said, a card that was in my bargain boxes. I pulled a few of these out. I got to, take a look at them, see what condition they're in, and if they're grading candidates. It's in my grade box. I probably should get on that rather than talk about it. But what has it done to the wax? Here's the crazy thing. When this resurrection, if you will, occurred, on my wax shelf, I had 5 boxes of 1991 Upper Deck. I'm going to be very transparent. One thing I try to be is very transparent. There were boxes I purchased for probably $5 or $10 6 months ago, right? I went to my local flea market, and there was a guy there. He had a table full of what's called junk wax era stuff. And I said, how much if I take all these boxes, every single one of them? I don't, I'm not even going to be picky. I just take the whole lot. And he gave me a price. It averaged out, I think, about $6 a box, I think. And so I bought, 30, 40 boxes. And 5 of them were this 1991 Upper Deck. And so I put it on my wax shelf, didn't think much of it. And then this happened with the Jordan, just rising up from the ashes, if you will. And I'm going to be very transparent. I just sold those 5 boxes of 1991 Upper Deck for $775 to the same person. So I just shipped those out, 5 boxes of 1991 Upper Deck for $775. Probably had $35 into them. And I mean, that epitomizes what's going on in the hobby this year. Why did that box jump in price from a $10 box, $20 box to, $150 something that quick? Is the Jordan SP1. And I think that's crazy. I mean, with all due respect, I appreciate the business. If it's me and I'm chasing the Jordan, and maybe this gentleman, I don't know what his end goal is. Well, maybe he's keeping the boxes closed himself to flip, thinking they're going to go to $250. I don't know. He didn't say his intent. He just purchased them. So if he's planning to open them, though, I will touch on that. You're almost better buying the Jordan singles, right? And you could pull one out of those boxes. You could pull a Jordan out of each one of those 5 boxes, and we know some of the quality control back then. A lot of off-centered cards, ding corners. Again, remember that box is 40 years old. Isn't that crazy to say? Or I should say, 30 years old. My math is off, but still 30 years old, and things been sitting around, and so we don't know if it's been banged around, thrown around, and you're not guaranteed a PSA 10 Jordan SP1. But that card is really drove alone. There's no other card. I mean, Chipper Jones is in there, that's true, but it's not on the level of the Jordan. So one card's driven that product up. Let's go to another card, right? The Bo Jackson, the 90 score. It's not even a rookie card, right? You think of Bo and rookies, 87, right? 87 Topps, 87 Donruss, 87 Fleer. But the 90 Bo, it's that iconic card, right? He's shirtless, and he's got that bat on the back of his neck with his hands over it, just kind of, muscularly posing. It's, the old Bo nose. And if you look at the back of that card, it's great. It's just a big B-O, Bo. No write-up, no where he's from, no stats, just Bo. And again, that was a card it's a base card. It's not even a parallel, an insert. From score 90 score, you could get 90 score factory sets until this surge happened for $5-10. You could get 90 score wax boxes for $5. Unfortunately, I don't have any of these boxes. I didn't get any in that buyout, but the wax boxes are now $45-50. That card now, at the time of this recording, is selling for $20 to $30 raw, and we're not even talking the graded copies. And so that card is driven up, and there's people who probably believe that card might be a $50 card, at peak. And it's just crazy where this card market is right now. I don't have any problems with it. The market sets the price. The buyers, what someone's willing to pay, sets the price. Maybe some old folk, old standbys are thinking this is crazy or they don't like it. I get it. We each have our own opinion, and I respect that. But it is what it is, And I've adapted to the point, like, someone say, man, you sold that after buying it for that. But that's what the market bears. That's just a good purchase by me. When I bought those 91 Upper Deck boxes, going back to that as an example, I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't have any insider info. This isn't Wall Street. I just bought it in a lot, and then it escalated in price, and it turned out to be a good deal. So a lot of times that doesn't happen. You buy something for $5-10, and you're lucky if you sell it for $5-10. Sometimes you sell it at a loss. So I don't make any apologies, for that. It is what it is. And as we come down here to the final stretch of the show, I just want to also point out, I've kind of kept this topic to the baseball portion of the hobby. I mean, if I open this up to other sports, we could probably even elaborate more. But I wanted to focus on baseball because, frankly, we've seen it happen more with some of the cheaper level baseball cards that are now going up to levels we never thunk. And, last card, it's not cheap. It's never really been cheap. It's the 1993 SP Jeter, very condition-sensitive card. And we've seen that shoot up, especially since the Hall of Fame announcement. Again, I kind of put that in the same stratosphere as the Trout. It's not something you could have pulled out of a bargain box or anything like that, like the Jordan or the Bo that we've already discussed. But it has, it's become a modern iconic card. You see that Jeter foil rookie, I mean, you just look at it, what it is and the significance of it. So, again, it's going to cost you a pretty penny if you don't have one already. And but it's become what I would call, again, the title of the show, modern iconic cards. And so sometimes I think we just have to put, I think we put sometimes too much of monetary value on it to be an iconic card. I think sometimes an iconic card can be a $20, $30, $40 card or thousands of dollars card. And so some of them modern iconics, and maybe I'll call them iconics, right? We create a new term, modern iconics, myconics. But, your Trout update, I throw the Madleys in there, Jeter, SP, and now we got, that 90 score Bo, and the MJ SP1. Chipper Jones out of that 93 SP is starting to shoot up, and that's not even his rookie card, technically speaking, because he has the 91s. And just crazy what's going on in the hobby. Every week, there's some new twist or turn around the corner. It's fun, at least for me. It's exciting. I'm having a good time. I've said on this show before, right? Many years ago, I've been in this hobby a long time. You could go away for a year, 2 years, and come back and not miss a beat, right? Nothing to really relearn. It's kind of just, hey, when does the Topps, Fleer, and Donruss come out, right? And, score, upper deck. And now you go away for a week. You go a week on a week's vacation. I know travel's not a big thing right now with the pandemic, but hypothetically speaking, you go away for a week, turn off your internet for a week, come back to the hobby, and you missed a ton of stuff. And, that's, to me, that's fun. That's exciting. It keeps an old guy like me, on his toes and head on a swivel. And, maybe keeping me a little young in the hobby than I would normally be. So, but with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. If you felt I missed something, and I'm human, did I miss a modern iconic cards? I know someone might say Mookie Betts. It's getting there. Mookie Betts rookie. It's getting there. But did I miss one in your mind? Let me know. And we can talk about it, discuss it, and then maybe I'll even offer an amendment to this episode. But, that's what came to my mind when I put this show together. But let me know what I miss. Do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts? We love that feedback. If you're enjoying the show, as always, we ask, we love positive reviews. Go to your favorite podcast platform. We're under the Sports Card Nation family, so look for Sports Card Nation, which is our Friday show, and give us a positive review if you're so inclined, and we appreciate that. So that being said, we wish everyone well, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time. Hey folks, thanks for listening to the show. Wanted to give out our social media links where you can follow the show even when you're not listening to it. On Twitter, we are at Hits Hobby, HITSHOBBY. On Instagram, we are at Hobby Quick Hits Podcast, at Hobby Quick Hits Podcast, all one word. Our website is www.sportscardnation.net. Look for the link to Hobby Quick Hits. You'll find us there. And you can always text us on our text line, area code 315-491-0239.